everybody. Thank you very much for joining us again today on our cybersecurity insurance and how that affects your onshore and your offshore staff. Today, we're going to discuss the questions that were asked to Mark van der Haar. Mark is Director at AB Phillips, Director of General Insurance, and he's able to share some insights into the different parts of insurances that are available.
I'm Mark van der Haar. We're AB Phillips. We're a substantial insurance broking firm. Personally have over 20 years experience and an expert insurance advisor in all things small, large and complex.
So the first question for you, Mark, is can you explain what type of cyber insurances that there are available?
Cyber insurance is quite varied. It is an emerging class of insurance and there's still a process of significant undertaking coming up. So I think what people need is a robust and quality cyber insurance policy, not so much an extension to an existing policy. And you need to be dealing with a specialist broker. They need to understand, the complexities of cyber insurance and exactly how they're exposed. I can lean on a couple of comments from Luke in that, I believe it was often it's not the system itself, it's the human error, that goes with that. And it's a really common misconception amongst business that, I'm in a cloud, I've got a provider, I'm okay from that sort of thing. So, I would say a quality insurance program. Each insurer has quite varying scope of what's required and what needs to be in place. But with the quality insurers, something in the last 12 months was multi-factor authentication. It was actually now difficult to get cyber programs without multi-factor authentication in place. And that's just one example. Training, again, very important, and no issue with onshoring, offshoring is very agnostic. What's important is you're treating your offshore team as you would your own, i.e. when you run cyber training for your, say, Australian staff, you should be running that for your offshore staff as well. So it's a consistency of approach, to cyber in your business, regardless of where they're domiciled, that I think is most important. Some of the, if I said poorer quality wordings in the market might rely only on the fact that there's a malicious activity or a threat reactor, for example, whereas the broader policies tend to just ensure whether there's an event. So, i.e. if someone leaves an API open and that leaves a weakness and is accessed, that might not necessarily trigger something on malicious if it's accidental. And this is where the issues become, most brokers and professionals don't really understand that. So that's where that cyber specialist and having a broker aware of the differentiation means that you're more likely to get something that's going to protect you if an adverse event really occurs within your business. Look, it's quite varied, but if I talk about a quality policy, a quality policy, you aren't just buying an insurance policy. Yes, you get a sum insured, but you are buying an incident response team. And how you respond post an accident is very critical. Having a forensic IT firm to be able to do analysis, having a lawyer to represent the organisation, identifies where the breaches have happened and what sort of notifications, what's actually transpired in terms of the data. All really important aspects that you're buying when you're buying an insurance policy. And if you buy an insurance policy, it's not just about reinstating continuity of your operation. It is also about identifying, has there been a business interruption loss? Has the actual incident been caused by the negligence of the firm? And therefore, are they going to have a potential, liability down the track of all these affected people who may have had, malicious activity go against them and financial loss? So there's a whole range of aspects. You can get things like brand protection, I suppose extensions, obviously data recovery and continuity is also, just an inclusion as part of it. So that's where the quality policies do respond on the multi-facets. And that is still emerging in the insurance class. We're still to see continual big losses that are going to happen, that are going to start getting recovered, i.e., a firm's IT division leave a gateway open on something, and that's causing fraud losses to all their customers. We get to see massive recoveries in this area, but experts' perceptions in insurance is that they're still to come. So the firm, your client should have their own cyber policy from that sort of things. Certainly, Intogreat does have its own cyber policy as well, which is of a high quality, but effectively, the breach happens within the actual firm themselves and within their operation. And if they have offshore staff, absolutely they may be offshore staff, but my understanding is nearly in every single case, that offshore staff would be utilising the system of the business themselves. And therefore, that's where the cyber policy is going to respond from that sort of things. The cyber insurance needs to be with the firm themselves, not necessarily relying on Intogreat's policy, because Intogreat's policy is to protect its own operating system, not that of its customers. So with cyber, it's really important that every business has their own policy to protect themselves. So Intogreat has its own policy in place. It is a quality policy. It does cover those aspects that I mentioned before of quality policies, and it's there to protect, the system really of Intogreat, not the system that, your staff would use of your customers, from that sort of things. And that's where that individual accountability needs to be. If there was in the background down the track, any respective insurer going, I think this is something that we need to recover off each or other respective firm based on negligence, well, obviously there is a liability aspect within the Intogreat, policy if it felt that there was an area of responsibility. And likewise, a good cyber policy would provide that protection for any other firm and customer that had it for themselves. Look, if from our point of view, you would advise your broker, and assuming you have cyber liability, if you don't believe you have it, I would notify them anyway. You never know. You might have some aspect of cover somewhere that could give you some protection. But ideally, after an event, you should actually notify your broker as a matter of course, so they're aware of it and they can give you some advice from their perspective relative to your current program.